Hey, welcome to Middle Class Mindset. This is Starsky Inspired. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why middle class people struggle to succeed. Hey, right after the intro, let's go. All right, let's get into it. I'm not going to waste any time. The 5 reasons that I give, I built them in succession that they go from, all of them are interconnected. So they go from one level to another, which many times produce the result of what a person is in present time. So I wrote these in a way so we can all kind of track back, the steps in which certain things happen, and then so we're able to quickly to identify and then correct. So this is the objective of this video. Okay, first out the gate, the first reason is negative family issues. Negative family issues is one of the reasons why many middle class people struggle to succeed. When you have negative family issues, meaning that you come from a family where there was more limitation, negative, there was more disbelief than belief, mindset and conversation, when there was a lot of scarcity conversation, where there was people, they was just surviving, type of conversation. When you're raised in that family issues, not accounting for all the rest of the issues, you could have had a very toxic family, along with a lot of other things, but it's the family issues many times that stagger and stop middle class people from moving any higher than this level. Many middle class people will be stuck making very low income, struggling to pay their bills, more month than the money, those kind of things. They will always struggle because we haven't tracked back to the fact that we grew up with negative family issues. It was the things that was put into your mind way back somewhere in your family that is stifling you right now when you're trying to break through that ceiling and get to that next level, even if it's still in middle class, right? You're not necessarily making a huge leap break from middle class going in on the rich class, but you're trying to go from making a $40,000 a year job to a $50,000 a year job, which for many people will be life changing. But listen, there's a struggle happening with family issues. With family issues. When the son only seen dad make so much, or the daughter only seen mom do so much, then you yourself believe that maybe that is all that is allotted for your bloodline, for your family generation. My mom was a cashier, my dad was a mechanic, I saw them work hard like this for all their life. What makes me think that, I'm not gonna have to do, it's these things that start coming up whenever there is a great opportunity, whenever there is a promotion, whenever there is something you got to do that nobody in your family did before, whenever there are these kind of things that are happening, great things, family issues always starts to show up. You hear it come out in the conversation. You'll hear it show up in the conversation from a person saying that, okay, if I break through and I'm making this amount of money, is that prideful to have that kind of money? Am I feeding my pride? It's like, where did that come from? Now, I'm not here to diagnose any of that. I'm just saying the first reason that people in middle class struggle to succeed, to move from this point to this point, first out the gate is family issues, right? Family issues. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm here for you. We in this together. Listen, there is no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Judgment-free. I'm just bringing the issues so we can identify them quickly and be prepared to move from them once we know what they are. Okay, next one. An environment of unbelief. You see how they connect? You got the family issues. Now you got the environment of unbelief. You got the environment. You got the environment that says, listen, many people that will be around you, right? You would have family members, let's say, that had a negative stint. You know, they went to jail from time to time, or they sold drugs, or they had a lot of different baby daddies, different type of things, or mom was never married, or whatever. You know, so that environment, unbelief, that environment begins to shape your expectation of what you can ask life for, because you never seen it modeled, even though you may have never had a parent or a person blatantly say, or you may have blatantly say, I don't believe, I don't believe, I don't believe, I don't believe. And that could be the case. You could be hearing these things from somebody audibly, but nevertheless, an environment of unbelief is an environment that you're in where people are not progressing forward. When you don't see forward progression, that is an environment of unbelief. When a person who knows that the ghetto is a bad place to be feels more at home in the ghetto than moving somewhere where there's not this environment, shows that the reason why you don't move, you don't believe that you can. You don't believe that you can survive outside of this. This is home to you based upon what you believe about this situation. Judgment free zone. Remember that. Judgment free zone. An environment of unbelief. It stops you. It stops you. It stops people who grew up like I did in the ghettos. When you start reading books and you start getting educated, and I was on the basketball court with some of my friends at one point in time, and I said this big word, at the time, I can't remember what it is, but I said a big word. They were looking at me like, who you think you are saying those kind of words. I was like, wait a minute. What's wrong with educating yourself? That doesn't make me any less your friend. I'm just reading the book every now and then, so I just, instead of saying ebonics, I said this word that to him it was pretty profound. And they looked at me different. They looked at me like I was trying to be something that I wasn't. Unbelief environment. All right, let's go to the next one. Lack of money and resources within the family. First, you got negative family issues. Then you're in an environment of unbelief. Then you got lack of money and resources within the family. Okay, this is a huge one in the Black community, right? The reason why this stops a person from succeeding is that many people who are trying to be the first of your family, you're trying to be the first one to go to college, the first one to start a business, the first one to do this, the first one to do that. You're going to need a support system to be there for you as you're pioneering this new venture, right? When you don't have family members that understand that I'm not just succeeding for me, I'm getting more than enough for me so that I can have resources available for family members who need my help. Now, not all family members, because we got to go back up to number one. Family issues. You got to watch out for those bombers. You got to watch out for those losers in your family. We're not talking about getting abundance to support a loser's habit. That's not what I'm saying at all. No, don't look at me like this. You got losers. I got losers in my family. You got losers in yours. I'm not saying who they are. I'm just saying we have them. Okay. So the lack of money and resources within the family stifles middle class people from succeeding. When you have a young lady who stepped out and she had this baby, and I'm just giving scenarios, she had this baby and the guy left and she stuck with the baby by herself, so she comes home, and it's a burden to them for her to come home because they have just enough money just for the two of them in the house. They don't have enough money to feed that extra mouth. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like those lacks time and time again stifle us from making leaps in success because we didn't have a support system. We didn't have people who believed in us. We didn't have people who raised us in the right environment, who nurtured our mind and those type. You don't always have that. That stifles us from succeeding. I remember moving out here to California. You know, when I moved out here, and didn't have nothing, didn't even have a job to go to. At the time, I mean, it was weird circumstances that brought me out here. But I didn't have a job. It took me a year and a half to find my first job. So I'm out here, don't know where I'm gonna stay. We were staying in hotels and motels, and I had two young kids at that point in time. But I saw an opportunity out here in California, but my family behind me did not have money and resources to support me when I stepped out and made this adventure. So many people, you are listening to me in the middle class, most of the time you're making ventures and moves and you're completely on your own. So somebody has to break the cycle of family members being alone when necessary. Disclaimer, I'm not talking about the losers. I'm not talking about people who are just trying to take advantage of the situation. We already know that they're not about anything. They're not trying to do anything. We already know that. So we let's go ahead and wipe them off. We're not excluding that. When they get their act together, hey player, I'm here for you. But listen, we've got to break that cycle of of only thinking about our household, but think about who's coming up behind you, who's ahead of you, so that when we begin to push things forward, we have more examples of people who are successful than people who are just basic middle class people. All right, fair enough. Listen, I can go all day in this right here, and just in that subject right there. But middle class mindset, what I'm trying to do is help you to see your value, right? Stick to your plan. And in doing all that, it encompasses a lot of things for you to siphon out. As you're taking in good information, you got to siphon out the bad information, because if you don't, though, the good and the bad will be competing in your mind. So it's a lot of videos that I'm doing. I'm coming at the same thing in different angles, because my number one goal for every person listening to me is for you to get off this level. I'm looking to help create the next big creators, the next big inventors, the next millionaires, the next game changers. Listen, I'm here to speak to you because I can feel it, man, that if the economy is going to change, it's going to come from middle class people. It's going to come from people that put their hand to the plow every single day. The people that's on the rich class, they got another purpose that they're set out to do, but they're not going to be the next new and up and coming thing. Those people are going to come from our level. So it's my job to intersect with you right now and help get your head straight. Okay, next one. There are few positive examples of success in your family. You see how it tracks down? It goes from your negative family issues, whatever you've seen, in your family that was just a negative thing to you. Then you got an environment of unbelief. Then you got, low money and resources, to support you. Then you got a few, you don't have that many positive examples within your family. I had family members I looked up to that sold drugs, that did a whole lot of things, but they were the cool people to me, not a positive example. Nevertheless, they was cool people to me, but none of what they did inspired me to be better. Right? So in your family, when you think about it, how many positive influences did you have? growing up. I didn't have very many. And the people who were positive in my family never spoke of their success. Never spoke of it. I don't know if they were afraid that people would run and ask them for things, so they kind of held back talking about their successes. They didn't want anybody to leech off them, that type of thing. I don't know, but they didn't speak about money. They didn't speak about owning a business. They didn't. And I had uncles and different people who had those things, but never spoke of their successes. So it stifled me when it comes to my success, because it took me a long time to believe that I can get to where I am right now. I spent most of my life pioneering every single move without support. That is not the correct formula for the middle class, given that the middle class, we are a down home, family oriented class. We value stability, security, those basic pioneer themes that people tend to let go of. We value that in the middle class. So you would think, okay, if we value that, shouldn't we work harder in trying to strengthen the middle class home? Get more examples in that. Have more direct examples of success than indirect. Hey, it's cool to read this person's book or look at this person's video. It's cool to do that. Yeah, that's fine. But they are indirect motivators. You need a direct source, because the closer the source is, the easier it is for you to believe that you can do it also. Right? Fair enough. We got few positive examples. That's one of the reasons why most middle class people don't succeed. They get stuck. Last but not least, thank you for sticking with me this whole time. You like what I'm saying? Hey, like and subscribe. Hey, share this video. Hey, this is Starsky Inspires. Hey, this is what I do, man. This is all we're going to talk about. My goal is to help you go that way, go up, success. Okay, low self-esteem about possibilities of success. Many families, many people in middle class have very low self-esteem about possibilities of success. What do I mean? Can I say it like this? Many middle class people are definitely afraid of getting big. Getting big. That son many times have cautions about getting bigger than dad, doing what dad and granddad didn't do. They have a problem with, most daughters have a problem with, doing something that is totally different from how you was raised to do it. Many middle class people, when it's time to break from one income level to another income level, low self-esteem. When it's time to forsake those friends in the ghetto that wasn't going anywhere no way, it's like being around them every time. That's all you're doing is getting in trouble or being stagnated. You can't even bring your Christmas presents or new flat screen TV in the house in the box, because the people around your neighborhood, they might be in there later. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but you are afraid to leave that. It makes you feel detached and insecure to leave that when that is a negative situation. You will find that many middle class people will work very hard and are fully qualified to move up in position, but will be insecure about it because their friends may talk about it. Their friends may look at them differently. They may be by themselves. It's that low self-esteem that stops many middle class people from just considering possibilities of success, right? They'll tell you things like, hey, I know in that meeting over there, in that saturated business, hey, you don't want to do that, man. Salesmen are crooks, all this type of things, when they don't even know the business, they don't even know what it's about. They don't even know But because they are so cautious and fearful and insecure about doing anything new, you'll find that they are satisfied with just being the same, right? They are the kind of people that the only time that they will move out of the hot seat is when the fire gets so hot and so high that they are almost just consumed, and then find, oh, this is getting hot in here, let's go. It's like, wait a minute, it was hot, 30 years ago. It took you 30 years to kind of do this, but it's low self-esteem. It's that feeling that I'm not worthy or deserving of this, when the fact of the matter is you are. You are. If you survived this long and you've made yourself a valued person thus far, good or bad, you're deserving of better. You're deserving of nice things. You're deserving of being in a house without bugs. You're deserving of being in a nice neighborhood and understanding that when you go to the nice neighborhood, there may be some people that don't like you, but then there may be more people that can't wait to be your friend. But you won't know it until you get there, until they get a chance to actually meet you. But we take ourselves out of the game before the game even starts. This is a low self-esteem thing that tracks all the way back to negative family issues. That negative family issue somewhere made you into this person where you're low self-esteem. When somebody give you a crazy number, like, with my family, let me use me as an example. As far as I know, I don't have any millionaires in my family or multimillionaires. Like I said, my family never talked about their successes. I don't know that they have. So it's like when I was approached with the thought of going in a direction to make millions of dollars, I felt such a caution, because I was like, oh my God, I can't tell anybody this. They're going to think that all of this is going through my head, just thinking about making $1 million, just thinking about it. That thought tapped into my insecurities, which tapped in way back into my negative family issues that made me a little afraid to even try it. So now, even doing these videos, you need to understand, I may look confident. I may look like, man, I just, whatever, But every single time I do this, I'm breaking that cycle of something negative that has happened, that is on me, that made me feel like I didn't have anything to say, that people wouldn't like me, or people wouldn't watch, all of these things. Every time I do a video, this video is breaking some type of cycle so that I can build something that puts me in a position where I can be a blessing to my household, but not just my household, but my other family members. I can be a support to them as they're breaking out, doing some new venture or pioneering some new thing. I can bring resources and money behind that, so we can create a generation of more of us who are positive examples for the kids that are coming behind me, to see that, listen, it is possible for you, and we can give them the blueprint that we didn't have. I want to encourage you, where you are right now, when you look at your life, when you look at your goals, track it back. See what things, you look at these 5 things that I said in this video, rewind it back, look at these 5 things to see if there are any of these things stifling you right now that got your head kind of twisted and afraid. If it is, hey, listen, just address it. Just address it. I don't necessarily know the extent you need to go to, but I just want to let you know that you are worthy. You are capable. You should have nice things. You should be able to smile once in a while. You should be able to travel to a foreign country that you want to go to. You should be able to make some moves that you should go. You're deserving of it. You've lived long enough to be deserving of it. So I'm here with you. Don't be afraid. Go to the next level. It's waiting on you. All right. See you in the next episode. This is Middle Class Mindset. My name is Starsky Inspires. Hey, like and subscribe. Check out the next video coming up. And we're going to get that money so we can go to the next level. All right. See ya.